I'm John Cheevers. I was a volunteer firefighter on the Greenvale Tanker 1 on Black Saturday. There's just so much to remember. It was very early in my volunteer career. We learned a lot that day. We had trained really well and we were well prepared, but we still learned a lot. Key for me would be the fact that no one told me that when the fire front hits, it takes all the oxygen, and I couldn't breathe. There was just no air to breathe. The other key memory for us was that we were able to rescue 3 people from Hume Vale on the day. So we had an experienced driver and a crew leader, and the 3 of us on the back were inexperienced, so it was our first fire, essentially. We deployed to the staging area and we could see the smoke in the hills to our east. Once we grouped up with the rest of our strike team, off we went, and we went up to Hume Vale. We were tasked with protecting the road so it was still accessible for people. We were flagged down by some residents at Hume Vale, but before we could set up to assist the residents, we got hit again from the northwest this time, and we went into full shelter mode. Our crew leader told us that the signal for burnover would be blasting the horn 3 times. The 3 of us on the back, I was on the south side of the truck and the guys were on the north side, and they were starting to protect the garden in front of the house and I was on the house side of the truck. I found it difficult to breathe because the fire was coming and the roar of the fire was so loud, and I was having trouble breathing. I was actually down on my knees below the heat shield for protection. Because I was down there, I heard the horn blow 3 times. I looked at my colleagues and the guys, they were still fighting the fire. I grabbed one of them by the legs and said, "Get in," and we went into protection mode. And we just sat there and we waited. And eventually we drove out and we got some ways down the road, and they stopped the truck, pulled the protection back, and were like, "Oh, thank God you're still there." They didn't know we were still on the back of the truck, but they had to go. From our strike team, the forward command vehicle was the Craigieburn car, and they lost that. That was destroyed. You know, we were lucky to be there at the right time for the family. And even looking around the property, the house was totally gone. There was plastic conduit in a concrete area that had melted and you could still see it. And as we were driving back, we were listening to the radio and they were reporting 7 people had lost their lives. And our experienced driver, who's been in the CFA for a long time, he was amazed that 7 people had passed away. We just didn't know what else was going to come in the news later. It changed what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be able to do more. There were things like on a personal level, we were wanting to take our children to Disneyland, and sort of had the feeling, why are we waiting?